So guys, all right, so I want to talk about how to keep warm. Now, my first videos that I put on YouTube, they're pretty long, drawn out, boring. I explained all kinds of stuff that really didn't matter, nobody cares about. Uh, so if you want real in-depth explanations of how I came up with this, go ahead and take a look at those videos. But otherwise, I think I'm a pretty good person to school people on how to keep warm. This is why. Take a look at my office. So up here, there's down there. Up here, it's usually about somewhere between 10, sometimes 20 degrees colder up here than on the ground. So we need to know how to keep warm. Nice view though. Always colder up here is because it's always windy up here. So it could be 25 degrees on the ground and then 15 degrees up here, and if it's 15 degrees on the ground, then it just keeps going. All right, so obviously I work in an environment where wind is an issue. The one thing I've learned, whether I'm working on the ground or I'm working in the air, is that you have to make sure you protect yourself from the wind. Everything about keeping warm is about the wind chill. If there's no wind and the sun's out, it could be 30 degrees and you could be outside in a t-shirt, the wind starts going, you're freezing. And if you have gear on that lets the wind through, you're going to be cold. I'm going to start at the feet and work my way up. Feet. I have Now, this is my first pair of winter boots I've ever had. You don't necessarily need winter boots. I just decided to get them to try them out. These are Red Wing and 80 grain. The big issue, I don't care what boots you have, as long as, at least for me, it's all leather. There's no little holes in it, letting air pass through in order to get your feet cold, letting wind go through. I do not care what boot that you have. My feet were always cold, no matter what I did. I did an explanation how I figured this out, but I figured out to put cardboard. I take I take the sole out, cut a cardboard, slide it in, put these soles get so cold, and then the inserts are so thin that it freezes your toes. Every day on the way home, I would get, thaw out your feet because they're numb. Once I started using the cardboard, that all went away. Everyone that I tell about it, they use it, they're happy. Well, nowadays at Walmart, you can get these hot hand things. Okay, they're cloth, and I usually put two of them in there just to make sure that the cold doesn't go through the sole. They're like $5 or $7 at Walmart. I slip them in there, and I don't have to worry about the cardboard getting wet or anything. So that's your feet. So my advice: don't let air wind through, and use something to protect yourself from these soles. These soles get cold, your toes get frozen. The next thing are going to be pants. All right. Now, as far as body wise, if you if you're working outside in construction and you're really not used to the cold, just go ahead and Google Carhartt overalls. All right, and you're done. All right. When I first came here from Florida, that's what I used. I used a suspender. They have the one piece, which I can't move around a lot in those. So they have the suspender ones and the jacket ones. They're windproof and they're extremely warm. Okay. I don't like wearing the Carhartt stuff because I feel like a Pillsbury snowman. After time, I figured out different ways to combat the cold. One more thing, socks. Socks. I use Under Armour socks, the thick ones. You can use Nike, whatever. I just use the thick ones that are breathable, that don't make your feet sweat. Combined with the boots and the cardboard, that's all I use. Now, pants. Pants are going to be uh, the jeans. You can get them at Walmart, Lowe's, or anything. I don't care where you get them. These jeans right here, okay? They have, either thin slit or flannel. Okay, these jeans, I don't care how cold it is. I don't use thermals anymore. These jeans keep me nice and toasty all the time. Climbing, they don't let wind through. I mean, it's I'm telling you, you stop the wind, you stop being cold. If you need thermals, thermals are going to be, I, for me, 3.0 or 4.0 Under Armour thermals. Those things are thick. You can wear regular jeans with those. It's just like what I had. It's basically two pieces of what I have on right now. So look that up. Under Armour 3.0s, 4.0s for me are too high. I use 3.0s if I even use them. All right, so the body or the the upper body. The upper body, I use Carhartt for my sweater. It could be 0 degrees outside. I'm using the Carhartt sweater, medium. Okay, I don't want to. I didn't. Thank God I didn't get the heavy because if I would have got the heavy, I'd only be able to use this thing if it was like 20 degrees. Not this right here. I can use from 45, 50 degrees all the way down to I don't care what it is. This is what I'm using. Now this does not protect from wind, but it keeps me warm. On top of that, I use a windbreaker. So if you have a sweater that keeps you warm, but it's if you put a windbreaker on top of it, this thing is nothing thin. It doesn't let any wind through. Nothing. This combined with that, I don't care. Negative something. This is what I'm wearing. Just that sweater, this right here, a t-shirt, and an undershirt. That's it. If you prepare for the cold and you stop that wind, you're fine. The next thing, all right, is the head. Let's talk about the head. For the head, I'm brutal, brutal. This is only for brutal days, brutally cold days. I have, I have this over here. This is what it's called. Inferno Winter Liner. Okay, brutally cold days. The reason is if you put on a regular balaclava, it goes over your face. Your breath winds up forming moisture and the front winds up being completely wet and it winds up being worse than just having something. So you wind up doing this all day. So this comes with a top and this piece right here. Okay, hoodie and this. This is a mask. And it actually comes from here and comes out and comes back in to where your lips and your nose are not actually touching. Here, I'll show you what it looks like. This is worthless to stop the cold, but it has this right here which sticks to that. But if you just have this and that on, you're going to be cold. All right, so you put this on like this. And you put that on like that. Tuck this in. Form it up. Now, my mouth and my nose are not touching the front. I did modify this though. When you're climbing the towers and you got to breathe hard, you're really working hard. This kind of has like a little foam thing here. And you try to take deep breaths and it kind of stops the breath, but it does. It's crazy because you have this on and it's warming the air in there, so you're not breathing cold air, so it's kind of nice. But what I did, I wound up cutting a dime-shaped hole right there to allow breath to come in, and it worked out just fine. I've been doing it for years. Now, on top of this, I keep a bag. All my all my stuff stays in that bag. On top of this, I use a windproof balaclava. This right here, if I'm wearing that, this goes on top. This is made by Sirius, or I think it's Cirrus. All right, so this right here is windproof, and you never have to really worry. The wind's not coming through this. You do have to worry about this getting wet, but you know, it is what it is. guess I can put never wet on it, which brings me to my next thing, the hand. I have tried all kinds of gloves, from thick ones, thin ones, everything I'm trying to work with. Nothing ever really worked as well as I thought that it should work. And then one day, I tried mittens. Every time I saw people using mittens, I thought it was ridiculous looking. Turns out I'm the ridiculous one because these things work. Mittens are by far the best work gloves. Um, Ones that I use, they come like this, and then I use a liner underneath. This is not the liner I use. This actually comes with the glove. I'm going to cut this out. These are Gander Mountain brand. I bought a few pairs of these when I found them uh, before they went out of business, so I have a few more. Now I cut these off and I use glove liners on the inside. That way, real thin ones. That way I can use my fingers, and then as soon as I'm done using my fingers, I can put them back in and close up. Now, these are cloth. I like to use cloth versus, they also have ones that are weatherproof. I don't like using those because that weatherproof liner gets cold and I feel that these are warmer. But what I do is I never wet them in order to keep the water, and it actually helps with the wind too. So I never wet them. The liner, okay, liner is very, very important because if you're outside and you have to do some stuff and it's 5 degrees outside, your digits are going to freeze within seconds. So you need to be able to keep your hands warm, especially when you take this off. Also, this right here, you zip this up, you put hot hands in. Hot hands very, very important to keep your hands warm, especially in -degree weather. The liners I use two different types of liners. I use one Cirrus brand, real thin as possible. That's when it's like 20s and 30s and stuff like that. And then when it gets really, really cold, um, I use these right here. These are diamond, black diamond. They're really thin, but and you can grab stuff. I mean, they're really thin. So you can grab stuff, but the reason I like these is because the entire finger, all the way up, is touchscreen. I'm gonna have to try to explain this real quick. The touchscreen, from what I understand, they have metal weaved in. Okay, and that's how the inside of your finger can touch the outside to touch the touchscreen. This by themselves are only good to like 35, 40 degrees. If you're in 30-degree weather, this hand without a glove will be warmer than this hand with the glove on because of, I'm assuming, the metal for the touchscreen. Either way, that's how it works. If it has touchscreen, this hand will be colder. But the great thing about touchscreen is that if you put hot hands behind it, the metal warms up. So I have taken my hand out and you see steam coming off my hand with hot hands. So if you don't have hot hands, forget about this glove. But if you have hot hands, this is the glove you want. Last but not least, if you are a foreman and if you're not going to be getting your hands dirty to where you're pulling your gloves out on and off and you're just keeping your hands inside your gloves, on days when I know I'm not going to be working real hard, these are really expensive, but they're so warm. They're really, really expensive, but they're so warm. And the liner you can take out for light, medium, or heavy, but these are so warm. No liners needed, no nothing. I can grab stuff with the 3 finger. Anyway, sorry. I guess you're skiing or whatever. These are amazing. I wear these, as you can tell, all the time. Really expensive gloves that I'm messing up, but your hands, you gotta keep them warm. All right, so this is Johnny's tips and tricks, and if this helped you out, hit the like button. That helps me out. I hope this helps.